Hey neighbors, thanks for stopping by to watch my vlog. Today we're going to be traveling to Hawaii, specifically the island of Oahu, for a little getaway. Here's kind of a street view on our first day, just walking along downtown. Went to Waikiki Brewing Co., which was really great. Our first stop is Pearl Harbor, which we visited to pay our respects and just kind of see what the memorial is about. If you didn't know, this memorial is completely free. Right now with COVID, there are some restrictions. You will have to either buy a ticket online or show up very early to queue because they can only allow so many folks out. The actual monument itself is really unique. It's built on top of one of the ships that was in the attack. They have the names of everyone who lost their lives in their attack and just a lot of really interesting information. And down here in this hole that I just showed, there's actually people buried. So if you did not die during the attack, but you wish to be buried with your loved ones, then they can do that for you. So it's very well maintained and highly recommend checking it out. Next up is Diamond Head. This is a fairly moderate hike. You can drive out to the top. You might have to wait for parking a little bit because it is limited. But here's kind of an overview of the mountain from the bottom. You can see there's a little smoothie shack and a little visitor center. Once you make it to the top, you are treated with this really, really beautiful view of the city. It's almost like a postcard, but you're actually there in real life. So this is one I highly recommend. It is fairly windy at the top because you are very high up, but definitely do not miss it. After our day of hiking, we headed to the beach and put our name on the wait list for Duke's. All of the wait lists are very, very long right now because of the reduced occupancy, but we were happy we were able to sit down. Even though it was touristy, it was definitely still worth the wait. On our second day, we hiked Koko Head Crater. This was probably one of the hardest hikes I've ever done, so I don't know if I'm just extremely out of shape or what my problem was, but it's basically stairs, and I think there is 1,044 steps, so you have to take those all the way to the top. Some of them are really far apart as well, so it's definitely one of those hikes where you'll want to have your hands free. There's also one section of the hike where there's nothing underneath the stairs at all, so you're basically climbing across air. Not for the faint of heart. For a little bit more family-friendly fun, you can check out the coastal trail. You might have to park really high up like we did. I guess it probably added about half a mile or so, but there's a lot of guide signs that'll tell you more about the trail. It is very, very windy along the coast, and it also gets pretty hot. However, there's a very nice view, and I believe at times you can actually walk directly up to the lighthouse, but we were unfortunately unable to, so we just kind of strolled around the summit of this little trail, checked out the view, which was really beautiful. So I highly recommend this as an alternative, or even just something after you do Koko Head for a little bit of rest and relaxation. If you are a Jurassic World fan, check out the Research Pier. Not only is it really beautiful and it's close to the coastal trail, but this is a scene from Jurassic World where everyone is kind of getting off of the boat. So you might not recognize it without the boat next to it, but just imagine lots and lots of folks getting off. I also just wanted to share this mural because I thought it was so cool. Don't miss a trip to the Dole plantation. Not only can you get Dole Whip, but it's actually really cool to see kind of where they do all of their pineapple farming or pineapple growing, however you would call it. Obviously, they are not doing the bulk of their harvesting in this area, which you'll see when I show you some more. A lot of the soil does look pretty dead, but I'm not a farmer. I have no qualifications, so can't speak too much to that. I do recommend taking the train ride because this will take you through the entire plantation So you get to see some of the machinery, which again, it does not look like it's been used in many, many years. It really looks damaged from the rain, but you can see a whole variety of different trees that are native to Hawaii, as well as some that are brought into the island. They are taking their mask protocol very, very seriously. Some people were kind of trying to be sneaky, and they actually stopped the entire train. So make sure you are not messing around with that. It is a very slow, leisurely ride, so it's very family friendly regardless of your fitness level. You can just kind of hang out and check out the area. It's very, very beautiful. The plantation is a fantastic gateway to the North Shore. The plantation being in maybe the middle of the island or so, but definitely north leaning. The North Shore is just right around the corner. So we headed there to check out the sights. We found the famous Rainbow Bridge, which honestly I don't really see the appeal, so I don't know if there's more to it. But the town itself is pretty cute. You can get some famous shaved ice, which we definitely did. Don't get a large if you just ate like we had, because it was really, really tough to put this down. But it was so good. I was surprised, and it's actually really cheap. We ended up getting matching t-shirts, which we certainly didn't need to, but it doesn't hurt to have a nice souvenir. Here's just a few shots of us heading through the town. It's very old, like you step back in time. We were staying close to Maui Brewing, so we walked over and had some beers. They were pretty good. Afterwards, we went to the famous Kualoa Ranch. It is all the way on the east side of the island, so depending on where you're staying, it might be a pretty far drive. There's a lot of different tours that you can take, so you could do horseback riding, you could do zip lining. They even have one where they take you to the secret beach from Jurassic Park. But what we did was the Jurassic Park Sights Tour, and it is apparently one of the only one that goes through all three parts of the ranch, which is pretty cool. So there's a lot of really unique foliage here. Our driver was really cool and pointed out anything that was particularly interesting. And he also showed us where the movie was filmed. So we got to see kind of some old sets that were left behind, and then anything that was manufactured, he kind of pointed out what that looked like. So we learned a lot, not only about the history, but also a little bit about the film industry in Hawaii. Their own replica of a Japanese temple? I sure didn't. So this was something that we decided to stop by after the ranch, and it was so beautiful, so serene. I felt a complete sense of peace both while I was there visiting, sitting down, interacting with the koi, and also upon leaving. I just felt so good for the rest of the day. There is not a very large meditation space inside, so it's a bit more of interaction with nature. So you want to make sure that you go on a nice, clear, open day. I'm not sure if there might be some more room when there's not COVID. Maybe they open up other parts of the temple, but you could only really see the Buddha on the inside You were able to light incense, which was cool, and then you could also buy some fish food for the koi. We got some Starbucks after because we sure needed it. Our last stop is Iolani Palace. I highly recommend visiting. You do have to make reservations online, and it is fairly limited because of COVID. So make sure that you pick a day that is going to work with your schedule, which right now I think they're maybe Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, but I'm sure that will change by the time I post. This tour is an audio guide, and it's about 45 minutes, maybe up to a full hour, just depending on how long you have to wait to enter rooms. A lot of what's inside the palace has been reconstructed. They do not have very much original work inside. One thing I didn't know is that this is the last remaining site for Hawaiian royalty. There is apparently no other site that the government has protected. The staircase is original wood and the carpeting is reconstructed. Here is a peek at the dining room, and they had these portraits of various kings and diplomats to show that Hawaii was recognized as a sovereign nation, which is pretty cool. And here is the throne room, which has some cool displays of some gowns that had been worn by the royal family, as well as, of course, their crowns and their scepters. They also mentioned that musicians would play in the corner right back there next to the throne on the right side. They actually let us walk up the staircase, which I was assuming it was just for show, but hey, they let us use it, which was cool. And they did sanitize it after every single person used the handrail, which I appreciated. Here's a look at the blue room, which I believe was one of the king's residences, if I'm remembering correctly. It's always funny to see how small their beds were back then. I won't speak too much on the rest of this history because I'm not a historian, but check out their website and even check out the tour yourself, and you can learn a lot about the history of Hawaii. By the way, while you're watching, don't forget to like and subscribe. That sums up all the touristy things that we did during our vacation in Hawaii. Stay tuned next week for a video showing you around Aulani Resort.